What's happening, guys? It's Ace here from the Aussie Rebels, back for part 2 of my first tutorial for the Kerbal Space Program. Uh, what I did in the last video was I created the rocket that's going to get us up into space and into a nice orbit. Here it is here. See, looks nice and disgusting. Yep, that's what we want. If you would like to see the construction video, please click on the annotation on the screen. If you would like to see the launch, continue watching this video. Just an additional piece of information, guys. What I did off camera was I adjusted the staging of my rocket. So if you look on the right hand side right now, you can see the staging that you need to set up. I've circled it in red so you can tell. If you set it out like that, by adding that additional decoupler which I put on the top, everything will work out for you perfectly. Feel free to pause it at that point, but what we're going to do now is we're going to launch it. So our speed is climbing and it's going to continue to go up for quite a while. Let's turn the throttle down so we're not going to overheat. You don't need to make sure that overheat goes all the way down. As long as it doesn't reach that end, you'll be fine. So let's turn it up slightly and make it just maintain that section there. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The sun's right above us. Okay, so what's that, about 12 o'clock? 34 seconds into our launch. We're going to get ready to jettison these solid fuel boosters on the outside, all 24 of them. And that's going to happen momentarily with our first stage. Okay, getting ready to press space. Jettison those. Away they go with the parachute. They'll all fall down. They may collide and explode, but that's okay. Look at them all parachuting down. As you can see, it's flying quite steady. It's not spinning out of control. It will start to spin later on. See, here we go. Right on cue. It's going to spin slightly, but it's not wobbling back and forward, left and right, flipping upside down, turning around, so that's a good sign. Okay, our next stage is going to be jettisoning these main engines, getting ready to do that now. There we go. What's going on? They go away. And it fires there. Just a bit of lag there, guys. Don't mind that, we're still good, still got plenty of altitude, still increasing your altitude by quite a lot. That's your vertical speed indicator right there, guys, that's what that is, as opposed to your speedometer, let's call it that. Okay, you can change that to orbit and surface, but let's do orbit. You can see your prograde, okay, and your retrograde will be the complete opposite of this. Okay, that yellow there, that's the prograde, that's where it's going to be heading, okay? So what we want to do is we want to keep it about there. A lot of people right now, what they'll do is they'll go into their map screen, you press M to do that. See all the previous things that I've got in orbit at the moment, quite a lot. Some landed on the moon. Zoom all the way out, and what we're going to have are my two ships, see, around the sun. But all we want to do for this one is simply get in nice orbit around Kerbin. So I can see I've kept it nice and level. I can always adjust that with the node later on. But we just want to use this to get this a little bit bigger. And once we're out at a altitude that I like, sometime in this circle, I'm going to use a maneuver. And I'm going to demonstrate how to use a maneuver so that you can get the perfect orbit. You can do it manually using the prograde and retrograde markers and whatnot. But it's much easier with the maneuver. And a lot of people need to learn how to use that system. So that's what I'm going to be doing. First of all, let's get back into the center, back into that prograde, so we've got maximum speed increase, and we're getting the most altitude because we're going directly up, straight away from Kerbin. Overheating is not a problem. Still got plenty fuel. Okay, as I said, once we jettison these, we've still got that initial rocket right in that center. But, there you go. It's like the Halo. Iron Man. Let's go. Okay, so basically this shows the path of what your orbit is going to be. So let's cut the fuel down there. There we go. So my throttle's down. See, the engines are off now. Oop, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. Okay. So this is going to show the path that we're going. That's the apoapsis right there, and that's basically where we're going to reach its peak and travel back in for a crash course on Kerbin. Making a path around there, click on it, make a maneuver, prograde, retrograde, the nodes, okay, the node and the antinode, Okay, basically they're what you use to adjust the angle of it. Okay, the rotation. You can see it's rotating around like that. See, and bring it back there. There we go, nice and level. We want to make this a lot bigger using the prograde, but instead of coming all the way out here, what we want to do is extend it so that it's actually going to be a circle. So there we go, boom. Now we have that periapsis. That periapsis means it's going to be a complete orbit. We're not going to be in a crash course for the Kerbin. Okay, instead what we're going to do is that's going to be our orbit path if the maneuver goes to plan. So what I want to do is I want to move this around so it's not quite that large. There we go. Just fiddle with these until it looks something like what you want. Look at that. Okay, there we go. Now it doesn't need to be perfectly circular, it just needs to be something that you like, and we can use this to rotate it and make it level. There we go, nice and level. Let's make sure it's still a circle. It is indeed. Make it a little smaller. Slow and steady wins the race. There we go. Now as you can see, we're approaching that marker. Okay, that's our maneuver marker. Okay, we can see there we've got 1 minute 17 seconds until we get to our maneuver. You can see that down the bottom. And the estimated burn time will be about 33 seconds. No, it won't, because if I start it up and stop it, it should tell us how long it's actually going to be. About 4 minutes, something like that. We need to alter our speed by that there, 1,864.4 meters per second. Okay, that's what we need to alter our speed by. So what we do is we turn off SAS, and we find our maneuver marker. Now that's going to be blue. Now the good thing about this ship that I've created, okay, in the build video, which once again you can find at the annotation from the start or in the link in the description. It's quite maneuverable, so you don't need to have RCS boosters on it, anything like that. There's no thrust. You can just easily rotate it and line it up with that blue marker. That blue marker there is the maneuver marker that we want to line up with. We've got 25 seconds until we need to be lined up perfectly with that. Okay, and so we've got plenty of time. There we go. SAS on to lock it in. That marker over there on the left hand side of that nav ball is the retrograde. That's your negative marker. So if you want to slow down your speed, that's where you start burning towards. When I say burn, I mean turning on those boosters like that. Okay, counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, and you can see node equals plus, and now it's going to start saying plus. Okay, what we want to do is we want to burn. Remember not to overheat. What we want to burn for however long it says, 3 minutes and 56 seconds. Okay, or until this says from 1,800, it goes all the way down to 0 or close enough to 0. I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to fast forward with the time warp, which you unfortunately can't do in the top left corner because you can't warp, as you can see, when it's throttled up. So I'm going to do it manually. But what this is doing at the moment, burning towards there, is it's expanding this path outwards. So what it's going to eventually look like, hopefully, is this yellow ring. Okay, and that's going to be our maneuver. So this is going to slowly expand, and I'll see you once we're close to that orbit path. Okay guys, welcome back. What I've done is I've sped up time a little bit. Now what you can see is we're actually travelling a little off that marker, okay, that we want for our maneuver, and it's expanding out, but we can fix that at a later time. So what we want to do now is, once again, we've stayed inside that entire thing, and it's approaching that 0 marker. And what we're about to get over here is the, boom, periapsis right there. Now you can see that the altitude that it's going to be at the moment, 40,000, 50,000. Okay, that's the meters away from the Earth that the altitude is going to be there at its lowest point. So what I can do right now is cut the fuel off to completely 0, so we're going to keep that orbit, and we'll close off that maneuver. There we go. So right now, if I leave it like that, we will be orbiting Kerbin, okay, which is what our goal was, okay? Our apoapsis will be at 594 kilometers away from the planet, and 114 kilometers away from the planet. But what I want to do is I want to get it a little bit closer, okay? So what we can do is time warp forwards, and you can see that what we're going to do is we're going to travel around in that orbit. If I circle on there, okay, look, that's us traveling. I've just sped up time a little bit, okay? It's just going at 50 times normal speed, and that's going to keep traveling around there, and the further away it gets, the faster it gets. Sorry, the faster we can time warp, but the slower it actually travels at velocity. Okay, And what we want to do is we want to actually make it so that it's actually about that distance. Okay, we want about that altitude so that it travels around the entire Kerbin. So let's just slow it down a little bit so we got time to make our maneuver. But we want to say, for example, at this point, we want it to travel all the way around. So once again, using these symbols here, we want to make sure that we're going to get in a nice circular orbit all the way around. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, if that's our orbit there, that yellow marker, we will do a nice circular, you know, almost symmetrical, as close as we can possibly get, you know. And that's what we want there. So what we want to do is, once again, find that marker. We only need to change our speed by 473 meters per second this time, so that's pretty good. So SAS off, rotating our ship. Okay, go back in the ship screen, you can see us rotating. And let's stop. Whoop, went past the marker, but this thing's so maneuverable I can get back to it in time. I got 19 minutes to get back to it, so it's really not much of a problem. There we go, lock it in there. And let's time warp forward so that we're near our objective. Remember, our marker starts there, and we're all the way over here. So let's time warp forwards a little bit. Keeping in mind, when you turn off time warp, it doesn't do it instantly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off now, and see it continued traveling forwards at quite great speeds. So we've got 1 minute left. Let me just time warp a little bit further forwards, just because I'm lazy. 41 seconds. Let's speed it up. Come on. There we go. It's counting down. Okay, 13 seconds remaining. So let's make sure we're still within that blue marker, which we are in fact. Now I don't need to be in my ship screen. What I can be is in the map screen, which I'm actually going to be. But, you know, whatever you prefer. When that counts down right now, throttle up. Let's change by that speed there, 450 meters per second. As you can see, it's moving our orbit into what we desire. This is coming over here to our point, that's bringing it in. And the apoapsis and the periapsis are changing. Okay, that's shrinking, that's expanding. That's exactly what we want. And this is trying to get us into the ideal orbit. Now that is saying that we've still got 151, but I'm liking how close this is getting, and I think I'm just going to do it when I'm ready, not when that's saying to. Okay, I'm going to play it by ear. It's almost going to be perfect anyway. Let's slow it down a little bit because it's encroaching on what we want to do. Stop it there. Let's turn off that, and there you can see our orbit. Okay, we're in a nice circular level orbit. Okay, remember, we could be at any angle that we want. As you can see, I put this one completely vertical. Okay, that ship there, Project Circle. But we can do whatever we want, and that's the orbit that we've chosen this time. Thanks for watching, guys. Once again, this is another Aussie Rebels video hosted by Ace for Kerbal Space Program. It's the basic tutorial. If you want anything that you're not sure about in Kerbal Space Program, please let me know on Teamspeak, on our forum at aurclan.betaboard.net, or in the comments section below. We'll make any video that you want for Kerbal Space Program. We can do tutorials for other games as well, how to set up your settings from all the different games that AUR play. And thanks for watching.